now we're really doing this person by person by person. We have to find out why you're not getting vaccinated. We have 11 states that really have inadequate vaccination levels to even get close to 70%.
Interesting point he makes about the almost hand-to-hand combat this has developed into across our country. This lag in vaccinations in parts of our country is fueling fears, as you may have heard, of some sort of summer surge, particularly in the American South. Back with us again tonight to talk about all of it, Dr. Murtaza Akhter. He is a clinical assistant professor at the University of Arizona College of Medicine in Phoenix. Doctor, not everyone is worried about a surge. I want to play for you some comments by the former FDA Commissioner, Dr. Scott Gottlieb. We'll talk about them on the other side.
I think what we're going to see is vaccinations are going to fall off sharply in the summer, probably July and August, and then they're going to pick back up towards the end of August and into September as people contemplate going back to work and back to school. I don't think that this is going to mean that there's going to be a resurgence in coronavirus over the summer. I'd like to see 10% more of the public vaccinated. I don't think we're going to get that, but we're in a pretty good place right now.
So, Doc, I'm never trying to Arizona shame, but your state was one of the places that had a spike in the summer months last year. How confident do you feel about the summer months this year?
Yeah, Brian, I feel like I probably should have made predictions because I thought we'd escaped last summer, and then June hit, and clearly my hope that people weren't coming to Arizona was wrong. People came, and especially the virus came. I think it's optimistic to say that there won't be a surge in the South. There will almost definitely be more cases in places where there aren't high vaccination rates, Alabama, Mississippi, etc. But whether there will be a lot more hospitalizations or deaths, I am fairly optimistic that there won't be a ton more. I think the most at-risk populations probably have had a reasonable opportunity to get vaccinated. There are clearly some people who haven't had that opportunity, especially in certain states. I do think there will be a surge in cases, but I don't necessarily think we'll have a ton more deaths. Again, I could be totally wrong, and I wouldn't want to gamble my life on it. So again, if you aren't vaccinated for whatever reason, either try to get a vaccine or distance and wear masks. But I think time will tell what's going to end up happening.
Well, you've always been candid with our viewing audience, and your role around here has been to tell people when they should be concerned and what they don't need to be concerned about. What about this new Delta variant we are hearing about from London? Does that spike your level of concern?
Yeah, that's what viruses do. They mutate, they create variants. And that's why for people who are thinking, whatever, this will pass, the virus will just eventually magically go away, that's clearly not the case. The longer it's around, the more variants will form. I am optimistic that in particular, the mRNA vaccines have shown a lot of protection against the variants. And I think that will be the case for the Delta variant as well. But again, it's not something I want to gamble my life on. So if you haven't been vaccinated, the answer is to be vaccinated. And remember, the longer the virus sticks around, whether you talk about the Delta variant, you're going to run out of Greek letters eventually if the virus sticks around. And so if the virus stays because people are spreading the disease and aren't getting vaccinated, there will be more variants. And at some point, you will have to be concerned that people will be infected. As of now, I think the Delta variant is probably not something somebody who's been vaccinated in America necessarily needs to be concerned about. But for people who aren't vaccinated, and the longer the virus sticks around, there will be variants that I think will be concerning.
Finally, Doc, once and for all, what is the answer to the assertion by, we have some national politicians making this point, they had COVID, they recovered, they don't feel the need for the vaccine. Can you clear this up?
Yeah, that's wrong. And that's the two words I can put them as clearly as possible. There is, in the immediate post-infection period, a presumed level of immunity that suggests maybe getting the vaccine a little bit later is most worthwhile. But definitely people who've gotten COVID get reinfected. As a matter of fact, just on my last shift, I had a patient who had URI or flu-like symptoms, and my question was, did she get vaccinated, to my resident? And he said, no, she had COVID 2 months ago. And I was like, okay, maybe that's why she didn't get vaccinated. She told me she tested negative just a month ago. So we swabbed her and said, distance and isolate until we get these results back. I called her back yesterday saying, you're COVID positive. and then had to go into this explanation to her about vaccines and how vaccines are much more effective at creating immunity than natural immunity is. Natural immunity is fine for a little bit, but that is not the way to protect yourself. The way to protect yourself from COVID is by being vaccinated and by just not getting it.